Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Wednesday, June the 20th. My good friend Dr. C.B. Chastain is with us from the University Veterinary Health Center. I still have a hard time remembering the new name. I just think of it as the vet clinic.
I've had trouble reprogramming my brain.
Yeah, the University Veterinary Health Center, and that is a real asset in our community.
It is.
Yeah,
yes.
It really is. You know, we have wonderful veterinarians and veterinary offices, but from time to time you need to have an emergency arises, and we've got the University Vet Center there, which operates 24 hours a day. Yeah.
That's right.
So, Dr. Chastain, today we're going to talk about what?
Heartworms.
Heartworms.
Yeah.
This is something that can kill your dog.
Absolutely.
And your cat.
Yeah, it can. Cats are a lot more resistant, but yeah.
Okay, so what do we need to know about heartworms and the preventative?
Well, a lot of people don't even know what they look like. They're about the size of the lead in a pencil, but they're 8 to 12 inches long, so they're about a foot long. And there can be literally 100 in the vessels going from the heart to the lungs. So it causes a lot of obstruction of blood flow to the lungs. And what makes it even worse is that the worm and bacteria the worm carries will irritate the lining of those blood vessels, and then that makes the obstruction even worse.
So what happens then?
Well, a number of things can happen. The main thing is that it causes so much extra work on the heart will eventually fail. It can block up arteries, and arteries can literally break open, and the dog can hemorrhage to death and die suddenly. So, and they can also wind up in wrong places, like they can wind up in the kidneys or even the brain. But
the heartworm can wind up in your kidneys or your brain, or the brain of the dog?
Yeah, they get lost on their way to where they're supposed to be, and they wind up in
Okay, you know, it sounds awful, and it is awful, but there is a simple preventative to this, right?
A very effective preventative. The worm is carried in a very small form of it in mosquitoes. And once the mosquito bites the dog, it takes several months for them to develop into a foot-long adult in the dog. And during that period, there's drugs that can stop the molting, the changing of the worm, and kill the worm before it gets to be an adult.
So if you put your dog on a monthly heartworm preventative, you're pretty much eliminating the risk of heartworms, correct?
Right.
But, correct me if I'm wrong, you need to make sure that your dog is tested for heartworms before you put them on the preventative, because you could end up causing great harm to the dog if they have heartworms and you give them the medication.
You found the source of a lot of confusion. Actually, they need to start before they're 8 weeks of age. They need to start while they're a puppy, and they don't need to be tested at that time. In fact, it does no good to test them at that time.
But if you have an adult dog, it's never been on...
But if they haven't been on before, or they've missed a month or several months of treatment, then they need to be tested, absolutely.
Before you do the heartworm prevention.
The testing really isn't effective until they are over 7 months of age.
Okay, all right. So that pretty much sums it up. If you've got a pet, you've got a dog, check them for heartworms and put them on the heartworm preventative.
Right. They can give pills or chewables, or there's topicals that you can wipe on their back. And
Dr. C.B. Chastain, thank you so much for coming by. Always a pleasure chatting with you.
It's good seeing you,
tell
too.
your lovely wife, Joyce, hi for me, and to stay calm.
I'll try to.
Tell her to stay calm, okay? And if you want more information about this, you can go to the University of Missouri Veterinary Health Center website. It is vhc.missouri.edu, okay? And you have all the information that you need there. Dr. C.B. Chastain. Now we turn to Tim Thomas, who is here. Off the cuff. Good to have you here, Tim Thomas.
Pleasure, Paul. How are you?
I'm fine. And this is Off the Cuffs is an improv company, right?
We specialize in short form improvisational acting and comedy. Very similar to the television show currently on the CW, Whose Line Is It Anyway? And everything that you when we perform, everything is made up. We will either get suggestions from the audience, or as the director of the show, I will give suggestions to my actors, and they just go with the scene. There's no script, and we just make everything up off the top of our heads.
And so that storyline can go anywhere, any direction, at any time.
Absolutely. There's a rule in improvisation where you always want to say yes and you want to add something to that. You never want to say no. If someone says that you happen to be a cactus, then you have to act like you're a cactus. Or if they say you're a female and you're a male, or vice versa, you just go with it. And you just keep building on the scene, and you try and get some natural laughter that way.
And then at one point, do you have a time limit, and then you have to bring it to an end?
As the director of the show, I can usually determine if there's a lull in something, or if I can feel that a scene is coming to an end, or maybe we have just hit an ultimate high note, or what we call an out, then I can usually end the scene right then and there and go on to the next game.
Well, wait a minute. You're directing it, but are you on stage with them at the time?
There are, on occasion, there are a few games that I do, but my job is sort of the host. I'm the Drew Carey, Aisha Tyler, and Whose Line Is It Anyway started in the UK. It was hosted by a gentleman named Clive Anderson, and that's kind of what I do. I tell the actors who's in what game. I give the rules of the game. I give the audience information and try and solicit information from them, and let my actors go.
Okay, and then when you feel that the story has gone as far as it's going to go, or it's as good as it's going to get,
correct,
then you bring it to a close yourself.
Right. I sound a buzzer. I yell scene. We get an applause from the audience, and we go on to the next game.
That's good. That's fun. We used to do something like that on the old Pepper and Friends show. We did shared storytelling, where we'd have 2 or 3 people, and we would just start off with something, and you start talking, and then all at once you stop, the next person has to pick it up and go on with the story. That's improv there, right there.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we are adding that particular game to our upcoming show. It's called Conducted Story. I will have 5 or 6 actors. I will get a suggestion from the audience, and I'll point to an actor, and they start the story. And then I'll point to another actor, and that actor needs to continue with the story and create characters,
and it can
things
get
like that.
Really,
yes, it
outlandish.
Can go, it absolutely can.
Outlandish and funny. But so if people want to see this off the cuff, you're at Talking Horse.
We're doing a show for Talking Horse Productions on June 23rd. You can go to talkinghorse.ticketleap.com to reserve tickets for the show. We encourage 18 and older, but anyone is welcome.
Okay, so it's on June, one night only.
Saturday night, June 23rd.
June 23rd.
7:30 p.m., Talking Horse Productions in Columbia.
And about how long?
That'd be about 2 hours.
All right, you got it. Saturday, June 23rd, off the cuff at Talking Horse Production. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.